Hello, everybody. This is Dax Castro from Accessibility Unraveled. I'm an Adobe certified PDF accessibility trainer, as well as certified as an accessible document specialist by the International Association of Accessibility Professionals. And today I wanted to focus on a video that I thought I would do about remediating a document that's been floating around on the internet, on LinkedIn specifically. And this is from Ontario.ca. And these are two different posters about accessibility. And one of the things as accessibility advocates that we just have to do, we have to make sure that our stuff is bulletproof, that when we post something about accessibility, that it is itself accessible to those who might digest the information differently. But I thought rather than just, post about it or, I'm not trying to shame anybody at all. This is about awareness, right? I thought I would go through and tag these documents. And so you could see kind of what we're starting with. So let's take a look at this first one, which is who is responsible for accessibility. And if we click on the PDF, it's going to open up an Acrobat. And the first thing I see is this file claims compliance with PDF A standards and has been opened in read only. Now, remember that PDF A doesn't stand for accessibility. It stands for archive format. And what that really means, there's a lot of different nuances of what archive format is, but the most important thing to understand is it does not allow for special transparencies or it really flattens everything to its basic state. So it really doesn't ensure that the document has tags or that it has any other item. And again, this really just says it claims compliance anyway. So we're going to go ahead and hit enable editing and we're going to discard the warning. And let's take a look at the tags tree. Now I can tell the first thing I typically do is I'm going to look at the document, where the document was made. Now this was made in PowerPoint, right? And I can tell it it says right under application, PowerPoint, which is why I could actually already tell that based on the amount of section tags that are in here, right? So if we just simply walk through the tags and we look at what we've got here, and I don't even have my hand on the mouse. I'm just using the keyboard and I'm using the right arrow to open that section tag. And I see, okay, we've got a paragraph tag. So we're missing a heading. And then we're going to go through and yep, there should be a heading here for policy. So it looks as though everything is set as a paragraph tag. And some of you might say, well, why does that matter, right? Why does it matter whether or not the document has is paragraph tags or at all? It's tagged, right? Well, let's take a look. If we were to just copy all this text, so if we open up Word and we paste it in here, wow. That's a lot of individual words. Let's do a find and replace, right? And we will replace our paragraph marker, which is the caret P, with a space marker. And if we do replace all, now that looks a little better. This is what someone's going to see when they're looking at it through assistive technology. Who is responsible for accessibility? And then it's just going to read everything like one continuous run-on sentence. And that's not really the same picture as what we're looking at when we look at this document. This document has structure, right? It has headings. It's got a link. Now this link happens to not even be active, right? So we want to fix this. So what's the first thing we need to do? Well, the first thing we need to do is create a document tag, right? And I could go up in here, right click and hit new tag and create a document tag, but I've already got a section tag here. So I'm just going to rename this document, right? And then hit OK. Now because I don't need a section inside a section. Now, do I really need all of these section tags? No, I don't. You could, in essence, go through and clean all this up and pull it all out. I am tempted to do that, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to go and start setting my heading structure. So I'm going to do H1. Now I don't need to set the closing character, the caret, because if I just press enter, it automatically is entered for me. And I can tell that each one of these sections, so I've got policy and then the paragraph, that one happens to be all together. That one's all together. It looks like all these other ones are all together. So let's just set this first one and we're going to call this an H2, right? And then because we've decided, or I've decided, that this is an H1 and that all of these titles are H2s and then a paragraph below. So that's fine for this first one because it happened to be separate. But what about these other ones? Well, it looks like they added a bunch of hard returns to get the spacing they wanted with each word or each couple words on its own line, which is why we have all these span tags, also because the text is colored differently. So what we can do here is we can take advantage of that, and we're just going to call this H2, and we're going to pull it out of that tag. Now what we can do here is we can go through and we can expand all these. Now I actually like to go from the bottom up because then it doesn't have me scroll down to get to all of these, right? So let's do a few of these at a time. So there's, let's see, let's go up to there. So we're gonna hit researcher, product, designer, developer, UX designer, and writer, then QA, and accessibility. We have guru there, but we're just going to do the first one. So we're going to right click on here and go to properties, and then we can just type in H2, and when we do, it's going to change this to heading level 2, and that's fine, and hit OK. Now we have all these heading levels. Now, unfortunately, we can't move them all in one group, but we can just simply move them out of the paragraph tags that they're in. Right? And when we move them, see how the line can be longer or shorter there? The short line says, hey, I want to be inside this section tag. And for now, that's what we want. So we're going to move all these up. And then there we go, H2. So that one's done, right? Now, theoretically, we could clean this up and take all of these span tags and merge them into one. But honestly, it's extra work. Someone using assistive technology is not going to know the difference between a single P or a P with a bunch of span tags. It's extra work we just don't need to do, right? And when we're trying to get things done, accessibility is hard enough as it is. Now, if I had the time, maybe I'd go clean this up. I'd select all this copy and hit create, come in here and right click and hit create content from selection, and then it would retag it. Or I could use the touch up read order tool and I could come in here and retag these elements, but I don't really need to do that. So let's go ahead and just leave all of these here. And really, I don't even need to move everything out of the section tags, right? But what I do need to do is fix this one. So accessibility guru has just accessibility and guru's right there. I'm just going to drag this up inside this other container and delete this empty tag, right? And so that solves that. And then now we have this link to deal with. So I want to make sure that my cursor is in my P tag. I'm going to highlight this text. I'm going to copy it. Then I'm going to right click and do create link. And it's going to open a web page. And then I'm going to paste that URL, but I'm going to go back and add the HTTP:// and then hit OK. Now, the next thing I need to do is figure out where it put my link. So it put my link inside my span tag. I don't need a link inside a span tag, so we'll just move that out. Now, what I want to do is right click on that and go to properties. And now I need to set alternate text for this. And this is going to be the page is the inclusive design toolkit. Okay, so then we're going to go back in here and paste inclusive design toolkit by Ontario government. Right, and maybe Ontario government's not the right term there, but whatever it would be, that's where we will put that, and then hit OK. So now we have descriptive text for our hyperlink. And then this last piece, it looks like we've got a figure, and another figure, which are just these three decorative elements up in the right-hand corner. But because they're just decorative, they don't have any intrinsic meaning. We can go ahead and artifact them. So we're going to click on each one, holding down Control, right click, and go change tag to artifact. Now, I like to use shortcut keys. So for me, each one of these has a little letter that's underlined. I know that artifact is E, right? So if I just right click and hit E, it's going to ask me what type of an artifact. Page is fine. I hit OK. And then now I just have 3 empty figure containers that I can delete, right? Now, at its base level, this is compliant. right? I've got all this. Here are some things to think about. If there were meaning for each of these objects, if each of these graphic elements meant something, because we were talking about diversity or ethnicity, or the fact that it is a male and female, or that there are different roles for different people with different dynamicisms, then it might be that we would want to write alt text, tag each of these elements to add a descriptive text. But in this case, it doesn't look like there is any intrinsic meaning in the specific icons that are used for manager or researcher. So they would stay, in fact, artifacted, right? So now we're going to go ahead and save this document out, File, Save As, and then we're just going to choose a different folder, and we're going to save this to the desktop, and we're going to save that out. All right, so now let's run the accessibility checker, which is our first checkpoint, and see what we get. Start checking, and it looks like, oh, we've got a tab order failed. Now we could right click on this and just hit fix. There's also a pre-flight fix up, but you can also just go to organize pages and right click and go to page properties, and see how this says unspecified. You just say use document tag structure, use document structure, and that's going to fix it. So then we can close the organized pages, come back here and do check again, and it's going to pass. But I could have just right clicked and hit fix, and it would have fixed it just fine. So that's one. Now let's go a step further, and we're going to open up the pack checker, right? So we're going to open up the pack checker, and we are going to get this over here, and we're going to open this and go to our desktop and open our file and do some checks. And it looks like everything passes except the metadata and the document settings. So we can fix that pretty easily. So if we go over to our print production and pre-flight, we can go into our pre-flight panel, click on our little wrench and set PDF UA entry, just hit fix, and then save this over top of the other one. We're good to go. Now, the other one was the document title. So if we go back to our document properties and go to initial view, we can see that it says show document title. So I thought that would be it. And our language is English Canadian. Let's go ahead and go back to the pack checker and see what it is. So the pack checker is going to tell us results in detail, and it's going to show us that the document settings, it says tab order. Okay, so that was the tab order issue that we had initially. So we're going to go ahead and just hit refresh. And now we can see we pass. We're all good to go. So that's how we modify a document when we are trying to adjust it so that it has proper heading structure, so that there is this association to what we're doing. Now let's take a look at the other document. Right? So let's go back and go to this who typically is excluded. And if we open this document, we see no tags available. So that means this document has no accessibility tags. So we could we could try to infer what it is, or we could use a variety of different methods to try to auto tag it. But in this case, I really like having the control of tagging this manually. So, let's go ahead and see what auto tag does. So now we hit the auto tag, and then we go back to our tags, and we can see what we have is a figure, and then we have a part with an H1. Hey, that did pretty good. There's our paragraph. That's pretty good. And then we've got a figure with some text and a figure with some text. Not too bad. We've got some things to start with. So let's go ahead and maybe start there. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to artifact that figure, and you can see how quickly I did that. Just right click and hit E and hit OK, right? Because that doesn't matter. And then our H1 looks good, and we need a document tag. So let's go ahead and just name this one document. All documents should have a document tag to start with to be PDF UA compliant. H1, our paragraph is just fine. It even identified the link, which is great, right? Remember that Acrobat will identify mouse over links with a mouse over, but if it doesn't get into the tags tree, it's not accessible by someone using a screen reader. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to properties and we're going to say Microsoft inclusive, I cannot spell today, soft inclusive design guide. Okay, and hit close. So now we're set there, right? This figure, we are going to go ahead and artifact the figure because I really just don't think it has any intrinsic value here. And then we're going to artifact this one as well. And then delete. Now, what are we left with? We're left with really a list, right? Now we do have this other thing. We're going to change this to a paragraph tag because it is really a paragraph of its own. We have a figure that's got, actually this figure has text and the image combined into it. So we need to highlight the text, go over to our tags tree. We're going to right click and do create tag from selection. And that did not work. We're going to make sure that we have tag selected up here at the top. Then we're going to go over here, highlight our item, right click, create tag from selection. We're going to tell it, yes, it's a P, it's a paragraph tag. And now it created a paragraph outside, right? So now we have something we can work with. So let's go ahead and move that into our structure here. All right. So now we've got a paragraph tag for that one. We've got a figure in here for this other item. We're gonna artifact that, delete that, and now we're a little cleaner because what we've got is the top row of text, the bottom row of text. This other piece needs to get moved up, but it doesn't really matter because we're gonna change that here in just a second. All right. So theoretically, this could be fairly compliant at the moment. It's not going to fail any checkers, but it's definitely not a good user experience. What are the items that we're looking at here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 items. And it really is a list. It's a list of people who might be excluded. So how about we create a list? So let's go ahead and do that. So I know that these 3 items here are my items I'm going to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and go up to here and create a new tag and call this L, right? And then I'm going to right click. I need 10 list item tags. Okay. I have 1, 2, 3 right now. So I need 7 more. If I right click, new tag, change this to LI, hit OK, it creates the new list tag. If I go back to this L tag again, right click and just hit N and then enter, it created the LI. I can just come back in here really quickly and just go in and create all these LIs that I need. See how quick that went? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're going to have enough. Now we're going to drag all these LIs into our list. And at minimum, we just need the LIs. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and now we're going to select the first LI, highlight our text, right click, create tag from selection. It dropped it right in. And we're just going to now do this for all the new tags, right? And the shortcut key here is R. So I'm going to highlight the text, right click. You have to highlight the tag first, then highlight the text. Go back, right click and hit R and do the whole thing again. Click the next L, I, highlight the text, right click, hit R, select the tag, highlight the text, right click, hit R. Same thing on down the line. And then our last one here, like this. And then now we have these last 2 containers. We're actually missing 1 LI. So we need a new LI. And there's our new LI. That's our last one. And then we're going to select that one, low income. And then now we have low literacy. We can just change this to an LI, and indigenous, change that one to an LI, right? LI. There we go. Grab those and put those right in with the other tags. Now we have a basic list. Now, you really could have an L, you could put these inside an L body, but you don't need to. This is the basic format of a basic list. and that's okay. So we're going to go ahead now. This last piece is our link. So we are going to do what we did last time, highlight the text, do create link, and then new web page, hit paste. And this is Inclusive Design Toolkit. Oh, the URL, we need the URL. So we're going to undo that, highlight the text and copy it. Then we're going to right click and hit create link, and then next, and then paste it in there and add our HTTP : / and hit OK. Now our link is created. Delete artifact this little object. We're going to come back here and go to properties and add our inclusive text, our Inclusive Design Toolkit, and delete the other stuff. There we go. Inclusive Design Toolkit on Ontario government website. Probably should spell out government. All right, and hit close. Now, that takes care of our tags tree. So now what do we have? An H, a paragraph with the link inside it, and then we have a list with all of our items. And we're checking our tags tree to make sure everything got in the right order, because sometimes it can get messed up, right? All right, so it looks good. And I think we are good to go. So let's do a couple of things. We know we're going to need to add the PDF UA marker. So we're going to go to pre-flight, set PDF UA entry, hit fix, and then save. Yes. And then now we're going to open our document properties, which is Control D on the keyboard. And right now it's set to file name. So we wanted to set to document title. And then we're going to call this who is excluded. And then we would add an author, Ontario government. Maybe it's the government of Ontario. I'm not sure. We're going to hit OK. Right. So now we kind of have our housekeeping stuff set. Let's go to our organized pages and right click and go to properties. And it already has used document structure. So we should be good to go. Fingers crossed, when we run this checker, we should be all set. And we are. We do have primary language failed. So let's go ahead and fix that. Now, if we hit fix, it's going to ask for English. But we know in our other document, if we went to our language, that they used English Canadian, right? So we want to make sure it's set properly. So let's go back here and we're going to go to our language properties in advanced and language. We're going to paste in ENCA and hit OK. Hit save. If we right click on this and hit check again, it passes. So we're good to go. So now we passed Acrobat, right? Which is our first step. Now we're going to open up the pack checker again. And we are going to try to check this in pack to make sure that there are no underlying errors. And the reason we use the pack checker is because, honestly, I want the technical aspect of this document to be correct. So that way, no matter what kind of screen reader is reading it, that they are, that's the old document, that they are, make sure I got this name right. File, save as, and then, okay. Yes. And then go back to our pack checker. And this is excluded. Oh, this is in downloads. That's why. Excluded. Hit OK. And now we can see, we've got a font error. We've got a font embedding error. So let's go ahead and fix that. See, this is why, I mean, Acrobat's a great place to start, but it's not going to catch everything, right? So I'm going to go back into print production and pre-flight, and then I'm going to just type in font. I want to make sure that PDF standards is checked and that the little wrench is checked, so I can just click one fix up, which is embed fonts. I'm going to hit fix and then save back over this document again. Yes. And there we are. We're good to go. And then let's go back to pack checker again and hit refresh. This little icon is refresh, and look at, we're all green check marks. We know we are good to go, right? So that's it, guys. I just wanted to share this with you. I tend to kind of call people out on inaccessibility, but I also want people to understand that this is about education. If we aren't aware what's there, then we don't know how to fix it. And beyond just complaining about it, I definitely want to share how to fix these documents. Now, is this the only way that this document can be set up? No, but this is a way that provides meaning. We've got heading structure, we've got a list and paragraphs and all the elements that we need. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. Thanks so much. And remember, Chad and I are always here. We are here to help you unravel accessibility. So find us at accessibilityunraveled.com. Thanks a lot.